Hey guys, and welcome to an updated deck profile of the Adamancipator build that I am currently running. This build has seen me through the past few locals, picking up a first and a second, as well as playing on the TCT online tournament through EDO Pro. There's that's run through a Discord server of mine here in Australia. Um, so I'll just try and get straight into the build and then just go over any card details as we see fit. So standard, we run the 3 Adamancipator tuners, so 3 Analyzer, 3 Researcher, 3 Seeker. I don't think there's much to explain there. 3 Block Dragon. Block must be at 3, in my opinion. Anything less than that is just, it's a little bit suboptimal. You can still play hand traps and still play this card at 3. You want to see it in your opening hand as much as possible. Yes, it's searchable off the Gallant Granite, but you want this card in your hand as much as possible. Just makes plays and extension just ridiculous, and the boards you can put out with this card is just absolutely insane. If you resolve Block Dragon, you're winning that game. We'll move on to the excavations. I think we run 11 excavations from memory. So we've got the 3 Doki Doki. Obviously, this card just to get it's a +1. So if you hit this off an excavation, special summon it, and then pitch a Earth Rock to hit to special summon another one of your either Adamancipator tuners or an Analyzer or whatever you need in that situation to continue your combo. To protect your combo, you've got the Kwakamiru Guardians, so obviously 3 of to stop the Nibiru, Ash, basically just any monster effects. Really very clutch. And something I've been testing around with is the Kwakamiru Sandman. So obviously the deck, it plays around the Ash of the Nibiru with the Guardian. The deck really hasn't had much to protect itself against the Imperm, which is definitely seeing a lot of meta play now in the main deck. I'm not maining it myself, but a lot of other players are. So the Sandman will just protect yourself against the Imperm, which is very, very important. You can play Gate Blocker instead. Gate Blocker is very good, so it just stops your cards from being targeted, which is incredible. Plus, it also stops field spell, so it stops like the Area 0 for Striker. It stops the Sanctuary for Salad. Stops the Mystic Mine, so there's benefits to that card as well. For me personally, I've been playing around with the Sandman. I really quite like it. Not only does it stop the Imperm, but when you're playing against the Lich matchup, just stopping their traps from going off. If you're playing against Geist, just to stop their traps, I feel as though it's a very underrated card and people very much sleeping on the Sandman. So definitely worth looking into this as just an extra rock excavation for the deck. Going on, we've got the Tackle Crusader. Card's incredible. If this is sent to the graveyard, you can either flip a monster face down or return a face-up spell and trap to the hand. So this effect comes up quite often, well, mainly for going second. This effect will come up. As going first, it's only used for a rock excavation, but going second, it actually does have a use. In one of my online tournament matches, I was playing against a Thunder Dragon list, so I was going second against that. He only ended on a Titan, and I knew he had at least 2, I think maybe possibly even 3 Thunder Dragons in hand that he could quick effects. He had Matrix and I think 2 Thunder Dragons, so I knew there was a potential to stop plays in Vital Points with the Titan. So I managed to get this into Grave. It's like one of my first plays that I did off a Doki Doki. I was pretty sure it was a Doki normal summon. The effect, he let it go through. Actually, no, I had a Guardian as well. So I had a Guardian on board, so it must have been a Doki normal summon, Researcher special summon, Researcher effect. He let that go through. I hit the Guardian, so I was like, sweet. And then from there, it was Doki Doki, send the Tackle Crusader that I had in hand. The Crusader flipped the Titan face down. And then from there, I was just able to completely combo off because I was assuming he was just going to let me get all the way up to potentially a Needle Fiber or a Granite and try and stop me there, which is definitely a bottleneck of the combo. If you can stop that, you can really hurt the combo a lot. Obviously, the Crusader, just flip the Titan, and then I was just able to freely combo off, which was really nice. Now going on to a few of the special summons of the deck, we've got the Weeping Idol and the Gigantes. So they're two targets that you'll generally search off the block. Gigantes you'll always add off block. Weeping Idol, depending on what Adamancipator tuners you've used already, you'll generally go into Researcher and Seeker, but if you've used one of those already, get the Weeping Idol, as it's just a free special summon by banishing a tuner. A Dolce Penningsessa as a 3 of, and the Tenny Spirited Hara as a 3 of, both being a free special summon from hand. This if you control no effect monsters, so obviously, yeah, first thing you'll summon off for the turn. And then the Dolce Penningsessa, as long as you haven't used Ash, then it will always be live in your opening hand. Obviously, if you excavate them, you can't special summon them because they're not rocks. But they're just free special summons which just help your combo get going, which is really nice. Next we have the O'Lion. Obviously O'Lion just for the Needle Fiber Linkross shenanigans. Buster Lock. This card plays around Dark Ruler no more. Some people are siding it. I feel as though it's still important to main it. If they do main the Dark Ruler no more, if they manage just to shut off the board, if you can still have the Buster Lock, 9 times out of 10 you're winning that game. So definitely something to main, in my opinion. Like, it's just, if you get Nibiru'd and you get slowed down and you can't make a crazy board, but you still manage to have like the Block Dragon, so you can potentially, even if you just end on a Borreload Savage, which is just an Omni Negate, it's very weak. You can play around it. You can definitely beat over that board. Just play through the negation and go on. If that's a Buster Lock as well, it makes it very hard, because like, you'll get the negate and then you still can't use the extra deck, which is just insane. My hand trap lineup, it is pretty generic. Obviously that can get, I feel as though these can be interchangeable with whatever meta that you feel as though you're going to be up against. So if you're playing against a lot of stun and back row sort of players, and obviously the Nibiru is not optimal, but just as a generic sort of look at the build, 3 Nibiru and 3 Ash. I think Ash over Imperm for the main deck, just because Ash hits everything. It can slow down pretty much every deck no matter what. Imperm, it's good against almost everything, but there's certain things that you just want the Ash instead. If depending on the matchup, if you feel as though you need to swap it out, then go, like, by all means. But just for a main deck option hand trap, I feel as though Ash is just a little bit more versatile. You can hit a few more things, and just overall a better card for the main deck, in my opinion. Finally, for the 2 spells we run, Foolish Burial, pretty much only essentially a 4th Block Dragon in the deck. But there is a play for when you're going second to pitch a Tackle Crusader, just to flip something face down, or potentially just baits out a negation. Worst case, in that case, like, yeah, you've Tackle Crusader is still, it's just really strong. So there's that, and then obviously the final card, Upstart Goblin, just to run 39 cards, make the build as most consistent as possible. If people are hitting the Upstart, then it's like no one ever stops the Upstart. They just let it go through 9 times out of 10, because it's something a bit more pertinent that they'll need to stop, and they don't want to waste a hand trap on the Upstart, so they generally let this go through and try and stop a Needle Fiber or something else. Going on to the extra deck, pretty generic as well. No big changes to what you'll see from most lists. So obviously the Borreload Savage and the Herald is the 2 Omni Negates. Just really strong if you generally try and get these out almost every single time, especially if you use Block Dragon. These 2 are guaranteed no matter of what excavations you hit off your tuners. These are pretty much guarantees if you can do the normal combo route with Block Dragon. Dragite, normally just used for OTKs, but its second ability just to negate a spell or trap definitely comes up. So once you clear a board, you'll obviously, if you can't OTK them for whatever reason, if they've stopped you, but you've still able to, like, you've stopped you from comboing, but you can still end on a Dragite for whatever reason, just clearing a board, going into battle for 3k, and then a negation on top of it, it can generally be quite strong. Raptite, Obviously, just the middle piece of the combo. Once you've sort of made your Appaloosa and you've sort of gone through your Needle Fiber combo, Raptite's generally the next thing in the line, just to extend your combos a little bit further before obviously going into the Borderlord Savage. It does have a second effect, so if you have been stopped and you've missed on excavations, you've been hand trapped, and things aren't going really well, Raptite, assuming you still have your O-Lion engraved, which you generally should, as long as the needle fiber hasn't been hand trapped. You still have the Diddy Crow-like effect of Raptite, which is really quite strong, can slow things down for your opponent, so it's quite handy. It does come up every now and then. Obviously, it's not the most optimal thing, but it is there as an option just in case. Next, we got the Marcher, just a part of the Link Cross combo with the O-Lion and the tokens from Link Cross. So that's Marcher. And then the 2XD, so we're just playing Gallant Granite to search generally the Block Dragon, but if hand is not optimal and you need extra plays, you can search out the Researcher with this as well. You can pretty much search anything in the deck with this, which is really nice. Abyss Trawler, just if you can end on this, it's generally game. Abyss Trawler is really strong, so this plays around Dark Ruler as well, so if you end on this with a Buster Lock on your Borderlord Savage, even if they Dark Ruler you, they still can't use extra deck, and they still can't use graveyard, so definitely very clutch if you can end on both of those, because even a Dark Ruler no more, it's just like, okay, well, you still can't really play the game that much. Appaloosa, it's Appaloosa, 4 negates generally. Sometimes you'll have to make Appaloosa for 3 if your excavations aren't great, or you have been hand trapped, so it's sort of slowing things down. Your board state isn't great. Sometimes Appaloosa for 3 is fine. You can potentially end on an IP with a Union Carrier, sorry, and then just make an Appaloosa for 2, but it's like, it is what it is. Sometimes you have to go that route, sometimes you don't have to. It depends on the board state, on your hand, on how the game's unfolding, and you just sort of have to play that by just playing the deck and knowing sort of the combos and your lines you can take. Next for the shenanigans, just got the 1 Needle Fiber or Halofibrax, 1 IP. You don't end on this super often, but it is an option just in case. You can either use the IP with the Union Carrier for Appaloosa, or you can use it with something else, hopefully a Block Dragon or whatever the case may be, for a Unicorn, just to spin a card back into the deck, which is really quite handy. Cerberus. Cerberus is an interesting one because generally you won't use it for its primary purpose to pop a card unless you've been Nibiru'd. Have used a token and like something else, or generally a Block Dragon and a token, to then destroy their Needle Fiber. The Needle Fiber to destroy the Nibiru. And then continue on with plays with that. Plus, not only that, it's an Earth, so once it does go to grave, it's fodder for the Block Dragon to recur itself out again, which is really quite strong. Union Carrier can use it to get that Block Dragon into grave as well. That is an option. Primarily, you just want the Union Carrier for the Buster Lock. That's its primary role, but you can also use it for Block Dragon, which is incredibly strong. So definitely learn that route if you have to take it. But you need a few bodies on board for that to happen, so it's to still be able to continue with plays. It's not the most optimal way of doing it, but it is an option if you have been hand trapped, you've been stopped, your hand is really subpar, and you just need something else to further extend plays. Then for the link ones, we've got the 1 Link Cross, and this card's just degenerate. It's probably going to get, it's already banned in the OCG. I can see it getting banned here once play does resume in the TCG as well, proper play with regionals and YCSs and whatnot. And then finally the Link Spider. Only reason for Link Spider is for the token off of the Lion. If you're going through the standard, like most optimal route of combo, you'll generally end on that. If you have to go Raptite before the Appaloosa, so using the Marcher and a level 3 token from the O-Lion, then you won't use Link Spider at all. But if you can go the optimal route, obviously do that. And then Link Spider is an Earth as well, so you can just use it for fodder for your Gigantes and for your Block Dragon, which is really strong. Finally, going into my side, so this is trying to hit as many decks as possible, with a little bit of first and a little bit of going second here as well, just to try and hit everything as much as possible. Obviously, 3 Dark Ruler no more to stop the mirror, as well as stopping Eldritch combo, or Eldritch Synchro, or whatever Eldritch shenanigans that are playing around with combo. Can also actually has come up really, really strong against Shadows. Just being able to negate any boards that they make, which is, and then just be able to make your own board and then just clear it away. And from there, like, you may not be able to OTK them that turn, but you can then make an unbreakable board, which will end the game anyway, which is really quite strong. Cosmic Cyclone for back row removal. Evenly matched also for back row removal, but can also be used just to clear away a board as well. If you open evenly in Dark Ruler, it's just the best thing ever. But obviously, evenly just in its own, still a really strong card, just to be able to, just basically a board wipe is always really handy. The Imperm, so I play 2 in the side. I generally will side these in going second, and depending on the matchup, sort of what I'm playing, if I'm going first in game 3, if it does go to game 3, I will take out the Nibiru and then put the Imperm in instead. That way, and obviously some extra cards as well, depending on the matchup. But this just allows, it'll just be an extra negation set, as well as if I am stopped and I'm in a beer and I've gotten literally nothing and I can't make a board, I'll generally try and keep the Ash and bring in the Imperms in, just to stop them as extra negations. If I can't set up my full board, I've got those extra plays to stop my opponent. When going first, and as well to stop the Dark Ruler no more, I play the 3 Anti-Spell Fragrance. This card just is a blowout. Even if you can't make a super crazy board, you can only make, say, 2 negations. If you have this and they've got 2 spells in hand, well, there's 2 negations in itself, so you just stop the 2 monsters, and then your Anti-Spell Fragrance does the rest, which is really quite strong. However, it only stops things for a turn, which generally is all you need. But if you need longer than that, the Imperial Order, this is always sided in for, well, not always, but majority of the time when going first, or actually pretty much all the time going first, you'll side in this card just to stop the Dark Ruler no more. Comes in incredibly clutch. The amount of times that I've gone first, going into game 2 or game 3, and I've just hit like this and this, or like just one of them, it just wins games pretty much by itself, which is incredible. Red Reboot for the trap matchups comes in incredibly handy. And just the about if his card was at 3, yeah, I'd probably play it at 3, and I'd sort of change my extra deck, my side deck a little bit. But it is at 1, so obviously we have to play it at 1, which is really unfortunate. It doesn't deserve to be at 1. It should be at 3. But look, I'm not Konami. I can't make the ban list. Really strong card. And another incredibly strong card is also at 1, the Pankratops. I understand why the card's at 1, because literally every man and his dog was siding this card as a 3 of. So thinking, if we put it at 1, it might change and just sort of warp the meta a little bit. And look, I'm still playing it at 1. The amount of times I side this in and just see the Saki 1 of, it's always nice. Ideally, I've learnt this the hard way in a few of my matchups and in testing. Sometimes it's not worth just sitting on this and just hoping that you can battle over something and then tag it out for something else. That's the most optimal. It's just about knowing your opponent's cards, what they do, and sometimes if you have to just get rid of a negation straight away with the Pankratops, then sometimes you just have to do it. Against the mirror, obviously Pankratops battle over. If it's an Apollosa for 3, swing over the Apollosa and then tag this out for a Herald. Herald will obviously negate, but it gets rid of itself anyway. So that way you've got rid of 3 monster negates, and then an Omni negate with the Herald. You only have to deal with like potentially a Borreload Savage and whatever else they've got. But yeah, Pankratops is definitely an important card to have in the side. And it's come in incredibly clutch in many of my matchups that I've played over the past few weeks with this list. Anyway, I hope you will enjoy the list. If there's anything that you sort of picked up from this, as I said, it is relatively standard to what you've been seeing in many of the Adamancipator builds that have been running around the meta at the moment. Um, Big shout out to the Adamancipator Excavator Duelists Facebook page. They've definitely sort of helped me build the deck to a point where I'm very happy with it. I've learned a lot from that, and just in my own personal testing as well. Seeing what other people play has definitely sort of shaped how I've sort of built the deck a little bit, and how I've played all different variants of the deck, from the Go 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 engine, the Unexpected Die, and now running more hand traps. I've played them all. This is definitely the most happy that I'm with the deck. Um, but yeah, obviously always ready for the next best thing with the deck and to see where it goes. Anyway, thanks for listening. Bye.